Hi everyone, my name is Tyler Bushnell, and I'm here to talk to you about my journey with God and why I am FCA. I have experienced God in so many ways. I'm excited to share those stories with you today. So let's give you a little bit of a backstory. So I grew up being a super competitive kid who wanted to win at everything I did, literally everything. I always loved to run around and enjoyed having teammates. So for me, lacrosse was my go-to sport for everything. When I was happy, sad, angry, bored, tired, you name it, and it made me want to go outside and play lacrosse. I fell in love with lacrosse after watching the Rochester Nighthawks at an indoor lacrosse game. Oof, there was a lot of action going on. So growing up with a passion I had for lacrosse, I quickly fell in love with the difficulty and creative space that I could accomplish on the field. I soon realized that my love for my sport helped me grow and become a much better lacrosse player every time I picked up my stick. This hard work and dedication also spilled over to my academics and the joy of being challenged by, something like a math problem or an in-depth question or an experiment in a science lab. My love and passion for lacrosse has allowed me to play at the collegiate level at SUNY Geneseo and has also pushed me to be a better person, brother, son, coach, friend, you name it. So heading to Geneseo was a really major step for me. 2 weeks before I was supposed to throw all my belongings in a car and move away to college, I was faced with one of probably the most difficult moments in my life. Unfortunately, I lost two friends to two different tragic deaths in the matter of a week. So for me, being such a driven person and knowing that what I want, it was just my whole world had been flipped upside down in the matter of a week. I honestly felt like I had lost part of me, and I didn't know if I would ever be healed. Because time was the one thing I couldn't stop, I had no choice but had to leave for school after my two friends had passed away. I have to admit, the first month or so was one of the hardest times of my life. I was in a new place with new people in a new town that I was just not used to. On top of that, I was recovering from surgery for my broken foot, which broke during my senior night in high school. I know, come on, senior night? That's what I thought too. When the first week of our fall ball season started, I was forced to sit on the sidelines and watch. This for me was really hard, and this was a new thing for me because I was blessed to be healthy most of my life as an athlete up until this point. When I was finally cleared, I felt lost and behind compared to my other teammates who had this extra time to be in shape and learn the new system. This was a low point for me in my life, as I had said before. I started to struggle with feeling positive and started asking questions on why these things were happening to me, and questions such as, what did I do to deserve all this? During this time of uncertainty and feelings of being lost, I was actually led to God. One of the most legendary people of FCA was able to take me and bring me closer to the Lord. If it wasn't for Coach Mack, I don't know what my life would be today. It was in this relationship with Coach Mack that made me realize how special God was. But I got to give you a little backstory on Coach Mack. So I first met Coach Mack when I started playing for FCA in the gold team, the 2017-2018 gold team out of Rochester. I always saw him as a guy who liked to scream creative phrases at the referees, for missing calls, and you could definitely always pick him out of a crowd by his bucket hat. He loves his bucket hat. So later on, when I was done with my FCA playing career, Coach Mack asked me if I wanted to help him coach the 2025 youth lacrosse team. My first thought was, 2025s, come on. I'm 8 years older than these kids. How is an 18-year-old going to be able to coach a 10-year-old and what to do? I didn't know that was my style right away. But so I said, what the heck? I'll try this out, and I decided to take a leap of faith, and I found my reason for being on earth. I love to coach. The best part about coaching with Coach Mack was that he allowed me to lead team huddles. So in these team huddles, I was able to develop a relationship and learn about God. It was also in these team huddles where I started to understand more about him and his message. Being able to come up with my own questions to ask the team instead of having to rely on a book with pre-made questions allowed me to see that I was growing in my faith with my relationship with him. And let me tell you, I learned that God was with me. So the idea that God was with me was a little scary at first. I didn't know what it looked like to live for God. I knew who God was. I grew up with a very religious grandmother. I knew that God was real, but had never really thought about it much. I went to church occasionally, so I understood some of the basic ideas and understanding, but was never able to piece much together. With the help of Coach Mack and so many others, I was able to start opening my eyes to the work that God was doing for me. I began to notice how people appeared in my life, who are now some of my closest friends and idols, I started to see that he had love for me in so many different ways. Speaking of his love, I think one of the things I struggled with at first was the ability to not know or sometimes even realize where God's love was present. That was until I started to learn how to look. So God had a purpose for me, and my path isn't going to be the same as everyone else's. That's the cool part about this journey. No matter who you are, who you meet, where you live, no matter what, no one is going to have the same story to tell, and that is what I love. A few years later into college, I was looking for an internship, when we were struck with COVID-19. It's crazy to think that I'm still talking about this, almost a year later, but it's a blessing in disguise. I reached out to another one of my FCA mentors, Cody Foster. For anyone that ever wants to meet someone with a lot of energy and loves to sing/listen to every type of music, this is your guy. He loves to dance to Disney Channel. Cody and I developed a new type of internship with FCA where I got to engage in fellowship and grow with God with a very special person named Juju Brunecki. It was on my one-on-one bi-weekly chat with Cody that I took the next step at developing my relationship with God. I finally had a better understanding of just how much God loved me and that his love is unfailing. Cody helped me realize that the struggles I had in my life are part of what God has planned for me. This plan was never promised to be perfect or easy, but God said that if I have his back, he will have mine. To me, that was super powerful. Since that internship, I have been able to grow every day with Christ. Part of my daily routine consists of checking the Bible app to read the daily verse. I know this is a small part of the lessons I can learn from Christ, but it was Cody who taught me that if I grow 1% every day for a year, that if you look back in a year from now, you'll realize how much you've changed and how much you have grown in your relationship with Christ. So now I'm able to share God's words with everyone around me. He's given me new strength and the power to go out and spread his great word. God has changed me forever. I now understand the love he has for me and the love that he has for everyone. My life with Christ now is a complete revolution. One that I never would have imagined would have happened to me, if I had to be quite honest. So many amazing people have crossed my path, and God has been able to guide me towards these people. I have now found a greater purpose than myself, and I feel relieved to know that God is my Savior, and the work I do is to honor him. There is a new purpose to my life, and this plan with God will forever be etched with me. I'm looking forward to continuing my growth with God in my small group huddles, my teammates, my coworkers, my family, the kids I coach, and whoever else needs to hear his great story. And through all this, I hope you understand now why I am FCA.